Personal story segment tonight. Congresswoman Michele Bachmann causing big controversy, charging President Obama is living it up in the White House at taxpayer expense.
A new book is out talking about the perks and the excess of the $1.4 billion a year presidency that we're paying for. And this is a lifestyle that is one of excess. Now we find out that there are 5 chefs on Air Force One. There are 2 projectionists who operate the White House movie theater. They regularly sleep at the White House in order to be readily available in case the first family wants a really late show. And I don't mean to be petty here, but can't they just push the play button? We are also the ones who are paying for someone to walk the president's dog. Paying for someone to walk the president's dog.
Well, that analysis has angered a lot of folks. Over at CNN, a reporter ambushed Mrs. Bachmann.
I want to ask you about is the fact that you said that you talked about the excesses that he's engaged in, the fact that he has a dog walker, which is not true.
The big point of my speech was about Benghazi. This was an absolute disaster.
But you also made specific accusations about the president spending money that other presidents also made.
The real issue is there are 4 Americans that are dead. The Secretary of State was not in conversation with the Secretary of Defense or with the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
I think that's an important point. I think that's an important point, but this is another.
The President of the United States didn't care about those 4 Americans, and they were killed. That's the point. And if you've got to focus.
But if you want to focus on that, then what? If that's it, you want to focus on, what did you bring up the other things?
Dog handlers, and there's 4 Americans killed.
But Congresswoman, you're the one who brought it up.
These Americans.
You're the one who brought it up.
Obviously, Michele Bachmann not wanting to talk about the White House perk thing, and the Benghazi thing was used, and the CNN person wanting. I'm glad I'm not in the middle of that. We wanted to ask Congresswoman Bachmann about the fracas, but she didn't want to talk about it, even though this program has been very fair to her always. So we did ask her spokesman, Dan Cotman, if we could call him about questions, the congressman's analysis, after we checked it out. He said, don't call him, and referred us to a book called Presidential Perks Gone Royal. Apparently that's the book Mrs. Bachmann used for her information about the president's lifestyle. Now, this would be much ado about nothing if not for the fact that trivial attacks on President Obama are obscuring serious problems in this country. Does the president live well in a White House? Yes, he does. Is there money wasted there? You bet there is. But every other president in history has lived in comfort, and it looks like President Bush the Younger had a bigger White House budget than Barack Obama does. This is a trivial pursuit, and Michele Bachmann made a mistake pursuing it. With the nation now owing close to $17 trillion, I wish the president were more like Pope Francis, who, as a cardinal in Argentina, rejected all the lavish perks. But Mr. Obama is entitled to protection, convenience, and comfort as he runs the nation. Congresswoman Bachmann and all opponents of Mr. Obama should zero in on what's really important: the president's failure to deal with out-of-control spending and his core belief that America is not a fair country. That's what's important. Not who's walking the presidential dog. By the way, that's the gardener who walks the dog, and he's always walked the dogs. And how many movies the Obamas watched? Jimmy Carter watched 300 movies. Well, might have been why that was so out of control back then. Now, it's long past time for partisans on both the right and the left to cut the nonsense and look at things clearly. We've got huge problems in America, and the president's directly responsible for some of those problems. He's not willing to compromise, he doesn't see the big economic picture, and he's way too far left for a commander-in-chief. That's what we should be focusing on. Recently, we ran a BillO'Reilly.com poll asking, do you think conservatives actually help Barack Obama by criticizing him on crazy stuff? 45% say yes, 55% say no. But the majority in this case is wrong. Michele Bachmann is playing small ball with the president, can't back up her criticism, and actually trivializes a huge problem: irresponsible spending by the federal government. 2 words: not good.